Hi everybody and welcome back to Dave's Kitchen. Today in this episode we're making up some homemade beef pies. Actually the recipe is relatively simple because it just involves some stewing beef and a few spices. Previously we did some homemade meat pies which were hamburger based and they turned out really well. And stay tuned in the future because we're going to make up some homemade chicken pies. So let's get started. First we're going to begin by adding the stewing beef to a mixing bowl. Now you can use just about any type of beef you want, but I find stewing beef works really nicely. Then I'm going to season with some fresh chopped parsley. If you don't have fresh parsley, you can always use the dried stuff. Followed by some thyme, rosemary, a pinch of salt, freshly ground black pepper. Add in the all-purpose flour. Now what this does is it makes the spices adhere to the beef and gives the sauce a little bit of extra body. Now I'm just going to use my spoon and mix until everything is nicely combined. Then I'm going to switch to my hands just to make sure the meat is completely covered with the spices and flour. Next what we're going to do is add some oil to a preheated pan. Add in the onions, the garlic, and stir and saute until the onions are translucent and fragrant. Now I'm going to add in the stewing beef, and I'm going to stir and fry this over a medium heat just until the beef begins to turn brown. And this should take, about 5 minutes or so. At this point in time, I just want to draw your attention to the beef, and you can see a bit of a shine on it, and that's another advantage to using the flour. Now I'm going to add in the peas. Now I'm using frozen peas. You can use canned peas or even fresh garden peas. Just take note, you want about half a tablespoon of water or a tablespoon just to give it a little bit of sauce. After the peas are well incorporated and I've got a little bit of liquid here, I'm just going to allow it to come to a slight boil, turn off the heat, and set it aside for a minute. Now I'm going to begin to put the filling into the beef pie shell. Now you can make this pastry from scratch or you can buy it pre-made at a store. If you're going to make it from scratch, of course I'll put a link below. And I'm going to fill these until they're basically to the top of the pie shell. Next, I'm going to take a piece of pastry and lay it over top of the pie. Using a nice sharp knife, we're just going to trim the excess from the edge. Then I'm going to use my thumb and my index finger to press down on the pie shell and go around it just to make sure it's nicely sealed. Now what I'm going to do is take my knife and slice a few holes in the top just for vents. And we're going to set these aside in the fridge for about 45 minutes to an hour just to let the gluten rest so they don't shrink while baking. After about an hour, we're going to slip our beef pies in a 350-degree preheated oven for 45 minutes. After 45 minutes, our beef pies are nicely browned. We're going to remove them from the oven and we're ready to serve. And here are our delicious homemade beef pies. Great served up with some mashed potatoes or French fries. For more details on this recipe, visit our website. And if you have something you'd like to share, leave us a comment. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.